Hello, everybody, and welcome to the investor webinar for Granddad Jacks today. I'm so excited to introduce Dave and Luke from Granddad Jacks. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys.
No
Well,
worries.
we're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we're on set today out of the Hotel Business Center in Singapore. We're just at the Food and Hotels Asia Summit. It's been a great event, but the lighting isn't spectacular, you know. But
The yellow who is interesting.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely grand. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us all and answer some questions. So if anyone has any questions during the presentation, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box and we'll get to them just after the presentation. If you guys would like to take it away, please go ahead.
Cool. I think we got someone here clicking the slideshow, so hopefully everyone can see it. There we go. So obviously, Granddad Jacks, we built the distillery in honor of my grandfather, Luke's great-grandfather. We decided back in November 2017 that a distillery would be a fantastic place to tell my grandfather's life story. And so we decided we're going to build this distillery. And then so we decided that we didn't really know anything about distilling. So we thought we better find out more about it. So we headed to the US on Boxing Day 2017 to find out what sort of equipment we needed and meet some people to guide us through the industry. And pretty much the rest is history. But unlike most other distilleries, we did start out building the distillery purely to tell my grandfather's life story. Now, these days, it's changed dramatically. We are much more than just great storytellers these days. We make fantastic spirits all around the world. So some of the milestones in the last few years, obviously, we're one of 4 distilleries in the world to be nominated for International Gin Producer of the Year this year. That competition, the finalists were in the top 4. The final gets announced, so the winner gets announced at the end of this month in London. So we'll see what will happen with that. We're very pleased though to be a true artist and producer family business, based out of the Gold Coast is pretty rewarding to be acknowledged in the top 4 best gin producers in the world. So,
and it's not just from any organization; it's from one of the oldest and longest running awards kind of creators as well, being the Institute of Wine and Spirits, or the IWSC, their competition there, and previous winners like Four Pillars and Kyoto and Herno are recognized all over the world, and they have significant brands as well. So it's really an honor to be a part of such kind of being nominated for that award is quite special to us.
Yeah. Also being one of only 2 privately owned family distilleries in Australia, we're one of only 2 that own more than 1 distillery. We have our sort of flagship distillery on the Gold Coast in Miami, in Lamana Lane, and then last year we opened our 2nd distillery in Brisbane, in Albion, in Collingwood Street. So we feel pretty proud as a family business to be able to, within 4 years, open two working distilleries and 2 working venues, tasting rooms for the consumers. So we see that as a huge achievement for a family business the size of ours.
Certainly, and to become a global brand in only just 4 years and really be able to kind of showcase our spirits in the other markets in New Zealand and Norway, and now in Singapore has been really special to us as well. So, with being the only brand to kind of work with companies like the New York Yacht Club, and we really plan on growing the brand as authentically as we can and really from the heart, and being able to train all the team members in the story and be able to bring them in as a cult following, not only for people outside the brand, but the people that are in the brand must love it as well.
And as Luke mentioned, we were very lucky and in the right place at the right time to partnership with American Magic, the New York Yacht Club's entry in the America's Cup last year. That program was formed based around 2 things. One, to obviously support our New Zealand distributor and give some activation, some opportunities to really activate our brand in New Zealand, being that the America's Cup was based in Auckland, in the Viaduct Harbour there. But also the major plan was that to help us launch into the US market. Obviously, being affiliated and partnership with someone like the New York Yacht Club opens some doors for us in the US. Unfortunately, though, COVID hit, and myself and Luke didn't get to go and activate it as well as we would have liked to. We couldn't get to New Zealand; they shut us out. But we were lucky enough. We had our New Zealand brand ambassador, and she did an amazing job of our distributors in New Zealand, and really we got the absolute most out of it we possibly could, being that we're in COVID times and couldn't travel and get around and get to the US like we would have hoped. But we did. I met with. I was in the New York Yacht Club just a few months ago. Met with the team there. Our spirits are now in the New York Yacht Club bar. In prime position, which is fantastic. We still have a bit of work to do in the US, but we're definitely on our way.
We've worked a lot since opening with local, state, and federal governments. It's been a big part. We were one of the first distilleries to open on the Gold Coast, and that came with a lot of issues, a lot of educating those kind of levels of government around what kind of business we are, and that's really helped shape and grow the industry. When we first opened our distillery, there probably would have been 10 or so other producers similar to us, and this year we're predicting there's probably going to be something we're near 50. So the things like the Queensland artisan license, allowing people to have cellar doors, sell their other alcohol, and support other artisan producers has been huge, and we've seen that growth just instantly come through, even on our part of the business that we look after contract distilling and help kind of incubate other brands through. It's been a huge part of what we've been passionate about as well.
Yeah, on average, we would probably have around 4 to 5 companies, brands every quarter come and approach us to help them build their distillery, to guide them in the right direction, to create recipes for them. And our contract distilling program, what we call contract distilling, is really grown and grown and grown with that. So it's a cool thing. We really enjoy helping other small businesses grow and head in the right direction. So it's been fantastic. And I sit on the newly created committee for liquor licensing in Queensland. So not only do we have a full picture of our industry in the way of distilling, manufacturing, production, marketing, but we also understand the whole ecosystem. We work really, really closely with government, a part of liquor licensing, have a lot of input into what the artisan license looks like and what it potentially will look like in the future. So it's really good to be involved in it.
Why are we crowdfunding? So this kind of came up just with some recent successes we've had, and we really saw the potential our brand had once we were nominated for that award as well. With not only the expansion happening internationally and finally getting some great markets, we not only need to support those markets, but also the potential growth in those and in new markets after, if we're fortunate enough to win an award like International Gin Producer of the Year. We wanted to be in a position where we could really take advantage of all of that potential growth and not just, say no to everything because we couldn't afford to grow that quickly. Without the crowdfunding, we would just sit back, would continue to organically grow our family business, and bit by bit, continue to make great spirits and tell Granddad Jack's story.
IT, ooh, we're on. Obviously, raising the funds. We need to, as Luke said, we need to support the international expansion, and we can do that and take really advantage. There's some real internationally at the moment. There's some real, vibe around Granddad Jack's and the brand, and we see it when we both visit places like here in Singapore. We're with our distributor here on Sunday, and we've been at the FHA show every day since. The feedback and the enthusiasm for our brand is really, really high. So a part of raising these funds is we want to take advantage of this enthusiasm now and really push into those international markets faster than we would be able to do if we didn't raise funds. If we just, as Luke said, if we just keep going as we are, that's fine. We can achieve that, and we'll get fantastic organic growth. But we really see an opportunity to raise funds and really push into these international markets way faster than we could do without raising the funds. Obviously, a part of that support for our program is we realize we've been to a lot of countries this year, talked to a lot of people so far. We've literally been around Europe, America, and now we're in Asia. Luke's actually been here in Singapore. It's his second time in just a few months. We see firsthand where people that get on the ground and in the international markets, we really have a good understanding for what's required. And we see to support those international markets around lots of things. And one of those things are we want to build and create Granddad Jack's bar experiences to support all of our international partners. So ultimately, we want to have a Granddad Jack's bar experience in every country where we have distribution, and that's about building the brand, pushing that brand, keeping our brand front of mind with those end consumers, and then they go and buy the bottle and take it home. So it's a big part of our expansion program is to have those Granddad Jack bar experiences around the world supporting our distribution.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to be said for getting it overseas and finding a distributor. It's another thing to sustain that market and not just send a couple of pallets or a pallet. You want to be sending substantial stock there every so often and be having a good foothold in those markets too. So we're really looking to support these markets continuously and not just go to 100 different countries this year, find 100 different distributors and sell to them one time.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, the marketing and brand support. I know I talk to, lucky enough, to talk to a lot of people in our industry, and most people can't understand how we do so much marketing, so much brand stuff with such a small team and such a small marketing budget that we have. So that's really exciting for us with funding. If we've achieved what we have achieved to date with a very small marketing budget and a very small team, but a team of really enthusiastic people in our business. So it's really exciting to see what we can achieve from a brand marketing point of view internationally when we actually have the funds to really supercharge our brand and our marketing.
Yeah, and a part of that is obviously growing the team somewhat, and part of this raise would actually be able to kind of let us build a new office space and state-of-the-art lab to not only hold more people but also improve the quality and sustain the quality of our products as well.
Oh, we've got the IT working.
What makes us different?
Well, number one, our story, right? We're very lucky that I've been around brand for a long time, many years, and it's not very often you get to tell a true story about a brand, and we're really lucky. We set this distillery up just purely to tell the story of my grandfather's life, and he's got such a vast life and vast amount of stories, and it just allows us to really connect with everybody, with the everyday consumer. We all have grandparents. We all have a story of our life. We all remember times we spend with our grandparents over the years, and so our brand's really special with that. And we've seen how that connects with people in our venues, both on the Gold Coast and in Brizzy. They really understand that we're not just another brand in the market. We're not just another brand that's making up a story to try and sell some spirit or some beer. We're a brand that continues to tell the true story about my grandfather's life. And that allows us to evolve, right? So, as that will go on, the stories will come out about, maybe stories will come out about my life, Luke's life, my grandkids' lives. There's constant evolution of our brand, which is very, very hard to find anywhere in the world, especially in the artist and, super premium space, which we're in. So, our brand has a lot of value. I think it's not widely known out in the community, but we're the only other spirits brand in the world that has the right to use the name Jack. No one else has that. It's just us and Jack Daniels. So that really proves how strong our brand is internationally for us to be able to have that relationship with one of the biggest producers in the world, Jack Daniels, and to be able to use the name Jack. It just shows you how in depth our story is, how strong our brand is.
And that story really resonates with not only our community and customers, but it helps to build that. It's something that it's hard not to believe in, parts of our family and the whole story and these unique stories of his life that we can tell. And that's really helped build not only our community on the Gold Coast, but our community in Brisbane, and it will continue to build our community in Singapore and our other markets as well. So it's something that we've been really good at, and we have a strong foundation in our culture and the way we train and the way we educate around that. And it's been, I think we're unique in that set as well. We spend a lot of time, a lot of hours and a lot of money on not only creating those communities, but also training our team to so that we're not the only people doing it. We have a lot of passionate crew behind us, and we even have a lot of passionate people. Probably a lot of you are listening and watching in today that, you know, you've probably come in, you've brought people to our distilleries as well, and told the story yourself. And I think that was really what makes our brand so unique.
And obviously, we're in the premium space. We make some, well, not we, Luke, make some amazing spirits. So we've been super lucky to be able to be as premium as we are in the world market so fast. You know, we've only been around 4 years, and to have the awards we have is amazing. And not just our spirits. You know, our marketing team won, you know, double gold medal in the World Whiskey Awards for our packaging. Our book that a lot of you on this today probably have seen or even have, the packaging on that book, that our whiskey was hidden inside, and the label on that whiskey, you know, both of those things, the label and the packaging, won gold medals in the World Whiskey Competition. So you can imagine we're really batting way above our pay rate on the international market against some of the biggest brands in the world, and we're winning. So it's fantastic.
And we're also, you know, we're very aware of how strong our brand is, and we protect that almost at all costs. You know, there's plenty of opportunities to get ranged across Australia, but we've seen the detriment of that to other brands, and we're aware that not only does those kind of markets need support, but also you go down that track of doing a lot of wholesale in those kind of markets. And without support, you quickly lose your brand story. And that's why a lot of our structure is based on having venues and those experiences that continue to grow brand in a sustainable way.
The strategy. So you know, we've been 100% self-funded from day one. Again, we're lucky with I've been in business a long time. For myself, been lucky. Not every business has been fantastic, but I've been lucky enough to have a few that have done very well. And so that's really what allowed us to start the Granddad Jack's brand in the way we have. I sold a business back in 2017, which allowed us to come in with not having to go and get bank loans or remortgage houses or anything like that. We're really in a lucky position to be able to come on with our own money, our own funding, and you know, really build the business at the pace we could. And that's been really good, right? Because at that point in time, we didn't know COVID was going to come along. And I can only imagine how stressful, you know, COVID must have been for people in our industry that had big mortgages and you know, borrowed a lot of money to build their distilleries or breweries or any business. And we were really lucky that we, you know, being self-funded, not having you know, big bank loans, business loans, you know, it made it much easier for us through that harsh COVID period to keep moving forward. Obviously, we've secured our export partnerships. So we have an amazing distributor in Norway. We spent myself, Luke, and Nikki spent some time with our distributor in Norway earlier, a few months back, and they're a really great team. They're really enthusiastic about our brand. They love it as much as we do. You know, the Norwegian market's really good for us because it's premium. You know, a lot of stuff in Norway is, you know, if you look at how they design, you know, everything they design in Norway, their cars, their clothing, everything is at that super premium end, and people there are used to spending, you know, the higher end of the money. So it really works for our market. So we're looking forward to some really good times. We really want to support the Norwegian team and really push that on. And the same thing is happening here in Singapore. We've got a great distributor here, a younger team here in Singapore than we have in Norway. But we need that. I think the Singaporean market's really quite different to the Norwegian market. And it's exciting for us that we have this more younger team here in Singapore that are really enthusiastic about our brand, have some really great ideas. We had a fantastic meeting with them on Sunday and talked about, you know, brand and marketing ideas and how we're going to really kick this market off here. So it's nice when you got distributors that are thinking the same way we're thinking. We can really you know, push the ability. I think one of the key points in our strengths is we're not raising funds to build bigger production facility. We build a production facility that can sustain our export growth right at the beginning. So we're no need to reinvest in new bigger stills, for example, or that sort of stuff. We've already got that in place, and we can do up to 17,000 litres currently a month across both sites, but that's only working 5 days a week. So we still even have at the case where we really wanted to push production even more, then we can. We're not actually limited at that, but that 17,000 is just working 5 days a week, and we have the ability to work, especially in our Gold Coast distillery, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we have a lot of capacity, which is really it's a good place to be in with the export market.
And a big strength of ours is not only been the ability for us to go, from not knowing anything about spirits, but to get to international recognition so quickly. And a large part of that has not only been just learning on the go and on the job, but really pushing ourselves in production to come up with new spirit ideas, to kind of test the limits a bit. We have no formal training, so all of our little incremental changes that have, getting our products better and better each time have really been through trial and error, and it's something that we're very generally kind of passionate about and looking into all the time, and that speaks to our our 2 monthly releases, one per venue. Not only do we have different barrel age projects going on, we've always got new and exciting spirits to come through, and that's even helped build our culture with our staff releases. So we push ourselves, but also our team members come in with different ideas, and that helps push us as well. And not only does it build our culture, it builds our capacity in production. There's plenty of brands out there that just make vodka, or they just make gin, or they just make liqueurs. And for us, it's important to be diverse, to keep kind of, getting out of our comfort zone and playing around with flavor and seeing what's new and what's exciting. And, what are consumers like? Our opinion's only one person or 2 people or 5 people, but to get it out in the market, to test new products all the time, and to have fun with it has been a big part of our strategy and our growth as well.
And obviously, for those of you online today, you would have seen probably us build. Some of you might have seen us start the build in Miami, and it was really important to us from the very beginning. If we're going to invest, the money we did in revamping and rebuilding the existing building there, we wanted to secure the property. So securing that site for us takes out a lot of risk. We've built a great facility there, great manufacturing facility, and bar area. But we don't have to worry about a landlord kicking us out or being in the wrong zone to be able to produce the product we have. All that's secure. So it really takes away a big amount of risk for our main production facility, where we own the building. And obviously great things with that is we get to, get some of that equity that grows in the building and the land as time goes on. We secured a 5+5 lease for our distillery in Brisbane. We also have first rights to purchase the building in Brisbane as well. We've invested quite a bit of money in building the Brisbane location. So we always, if we're going to do leases, we always secure first rights to purchase. So I would think, who knows when they want to sell it in Brisbane, but hopefully we're in the right position when the landlord or our current landlord in Brisbane wants to sell, that we purchase that building as well in the future. But we don't know when that is. They don't know when that is, but we have the option, which is good. Revenue. You want to talk about revenue?
Yeah, it's been something that far exceeded even in the first couple of years, the growth that we thought was potential for our business and brand, and we've done quite a great job organically growing anywhere from 40 to 57% on any financial year. So you can see in this chart, it looks all sexy, just a straight line to the moon, and it's all our ambition to keep heading in that direction, as well as keeping all the brand integrity that's involved. Yeah. I think a large part of that is not only adding the venue, doing our monthly releases, but also holding the community. It's really simple for a brand to be hot and sexy the first year and then quickly dive off if you can't sustain that. And I think this graph shows at least that we've been able to sustain the brand, the integrity of the brand, and also the quality of the products.
Yeah, and you look at this growth, and you remember this growth is not through adding national distribution. This is purely through building the business in the areas we're in, and a little bit of export in there. And if we think about this growth in the last financial year, we had a challenges in Brizzy. You know, we had shutdowns. We just opened our Brizzy distillery, and then we got shut down for COVID again. Then we got over that, and then we had 1.5 meters of water flood our whole building. So we got, you know, many months in Brisbane in the last you know, financial year where we weren't trading. Literally all we were doing is spending money trying to fix the place to reopen it. So I think there's still huge potential there just in the two venues we have as well, which is really exciting.
And this is done, to remind everyone, this is done without distributors. It's done without sales reps on the road. This is done purely venues, online, and overseas through our export and you know, through our other programs, through contract distilling and things like that. So it's been really sustainable for us, and there's obviously still a lot of growth there to be had.
This is to be honest, this has nothing to do with us.
No,
Like,
we can't take any credit.
We can't take any credit for this. We just turn up, and in Luke's case, Luke makes all the booze, and I love having a drink and talking to people. So we do our bit, but you know, I think, you know, we've got an amazing team in behind us, and they create some awesome content. And you know, to be able to create this content and you know, organically grow it has been phenomenal. And once again, it just shows a point, like, what can we do with the right funding? If we can do this with literally no funding in the marketing space, just creating content, what can we do when we really actually put a marketing budget to it? So I know our team and behind the scenes is super excited to potentially finally have a marketing budget, which we've never had before. So we'll see what happens in the future, but we're super excited. Export partners, as I said, we are in Singapore right now. This business, our first shipment to Singapore actually arrives in town here today. So we're here at FHA show through Hotels Asia, talking to on-premise, off-premise partners, dealing with our distributor, setting in place the marketing plan for the next of our product here. They're going to visit us down in Australia sometime early next year, which would be fantastic. We'll be able to really get them into our culture and our distilleries and you know, really engage them in our brand, which would be good. They'll go back to Norway super excited. Luke and Zach, who's our venues manager and brand ambassador, are off to New Zealand Saturday next week. So we've got a 7-day tour around New Zealand in conjunction with our distributor. They're doing masterclasses, in-store tastings, those sorts of things. US, our products have arrived in the US. We're just waiting for them to clear customs. We have our US importer secured. For those who don't know, US is the most complicated place to send spirit to in the world. They have a 3-tier system there. You have to, first of all, you have to get approvals for your product. You just can't send it there. They're called COLA approvals. So once you got your COLA approvals, then you can go and start talking with importers. And then you have to have an importer. The importer is not allowed to sell wholesale to anyone. The importer has to sell to a wholesaler, distributor, and then the distributor can sell off to bars, restaurants, cafes, all those sorts of things. So it's a 3-tier system. We've got the importers sorted, the relationship really well there. All of our COLA approvals are done. We just haven't nailed the right distributor yet. So we've got a bit of work to do there. They say it's the toughest market in the world to be in. And after spending 5 weeks there a few months ago, I can tell you it's a tough market to be in. But it's a very rewarding market once we get it over the line. We've got some really top bars, restaurants in the US that love our product. Big retail, premium retail stores in the Midwest that love our product, gonna range our product. We just need to finish that final step with getting the right distribution partner in the US, and then we'll be away.
The offer.
So obviously 10% is what a little bit over 10% of what we are offering in this raise to the public. We have a minimum of 700,000, maximum of 2 million. We've budgeted stuff out, so we have like a 700,000 sort of whole budget set out, plan set out around raising those funds, and then we have a completely different plan that's way more aggressive, way faster, doing lots more around the world with the 2 million raise. But as Luke said, there's no major. We're not spending money on upgrading our equipment in the way of distillation production area, but we are spending money in upgrading the facilities, the building some new office to fit the team. We're running out of room, office space to fit our team there now, and also the lab. We really want to take our spirits to the next level, and by fitting out our own laboratory there and really being able to test the spirits at whole different levels than what we can now, it allows us to just continue to be in that premium space, continue to have the best spirits we can possibly have. Also, that allows us in the future, there's potential income stream for that lab. We have 50 other distilleries around Queensland, all sorts of sizes by the end of the year. And those people also need some lab work done. So, in the future, it's not just doesn't just help us as a brand, but it also potentially becomes a good revenue stream for us for testing other people's products. On the Q&A.
Great. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box down the bottom of your screen. Thank you guys so much for that presentation. That was really thorough and really gave us a good idea of what everybody has the idea that they're investing into. So I know that the entire brand has been inspired by Granddad Jack. What inspires each individual collection, I guess you could say, or products?
Well, it comes from a story. So we have many, many stories. My mum and her two sisters wrote like a "This Is Your Life" book and gave it to my grandfather for his 90th birthday. So we take captions and stories out of that book that they wrote, and that inspires us for the names of the spirits. Obviously, there's going to be a point in time where we run out of those names. But what we have is an amazing amount of people. So they have stories, and we'll bring other stories and people in our team and things like that. So everything is really inspired about, one, would my grandfather like that? Two, does it sit within his ethos? Is it something he would respect? If we think he wouldn't like it, or what we're doing is outside of our values, we just don't do it. So it's really important to us to stick to those values in that story. With the brand all the time.
And when it comes to our limited releases, it's often that aligns with not only our staff for their yearly releases, but also the local community, like seasonal releases like that. We've often had great customers bring us in different produce, and then we can turn that into a release. So they're inspired by just, moments in time and things that happen and people that we love very much. So that's where the limited releases often come from.
Yeah, fantastic. So someone's asked, what are the next steps with progressing? I assume that means with investing. So the offer will be open next week. You'll get an email just letting you know that it is open to the expression of interest list, and you'll be able to invest in the company. So guys, you've mentioned that you're doing a $700K minimum and a $200 million maximum for an equity of around about 10%. What value are you basing the equity against?
We're basically, we've been very lucky. We had lots of people, our accountants, some lawyers, all sorts of look at it. So we're looking at our revenue equation, also the value of the brand and the value of the building.
Fantastic. So that's in terms of the minimum investment of $249, is that per person?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. How are you going to be approaching solving the distribution problem in the USA?
Well, we've got to, there's no easy solution to that. It's about building relationships. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's just a challenge. That we have to have the right partner. In fact, we could solve this distribution problem in the US now, but we'd be with the wrong partner. So we have a list of companies that we've identified will be the best brands to work with us, the best distributors to work with us. So it's a matter of we're going through that list, which we're trying to build these relationships with these people so they trust us, they understand our culture. So it's as Luke said before, we have opportunities in this business that we could take and grow really quickly, but it doesn't align with our long-term brand. If something has the potential to damage our brand, we don't do it. We don't take quick gains. We would much rather take a longer term approach and make sure we have the right partner in the US than jump in with someone who's waving their hands at us and saying, yeah, I'll do it. So that's why it's not so much about we can't find a distributor, because we can. We just haven't got the ones we want yet, and we're very focused on making sure we get the right partnership with the right distributor.
Yeah, fantastic. So there's a few questions around profit margins. So any profit will be explained in the offer document, which you'll be able to see next week when the offer goes live. There's also some questions surrounding what the share value will be going forward. So in regards to the current value will be located in the share registry provider that holds your shares. So you'll find that out once you've purchased shares and they've been issued to you. The companies will update this through their share registries. So if you don't have access to the share registry, you should be able to set up an account when all of this happens. But in terms of the share value, it won't be going up and down like what you would normally see on a marketplace such as the ASX. So investing through the crowdsourced funding regime is considered a medium to long-term investment. So it's a little bit different in terms of how you can trade shares. And hopefully that answers some of your questions. Someone's also asked if there's a maximum limit on any one investment through crowdsourced funding raising. The answer is yes. So generally speaking, what's called a retail investor, which is everyday people such as myself, we can invest up to $10,000. Anything beyond $10,000, you will need a wholesale investor certificate that you can get from your accountant. There are certain thresholds that you do need to meet to become a wholesale investor, but your accountant can let you know if you do qualify for this. So in terms of sales, what are the percentage breakdowns between D2C, export, and on-trade currently?
So I haven't got the exact numbers in front of me. We do have them, and they will be they are documented in the offer document when that gets released. But around 95% of our revenue comes from direct to the consumer sales. We've been focused from the very, very beginning about being a direct to the consumer brand, especially in Australia. So we do have two quite different models. Our first model, currently, obviously, and the numbers will show when you see the offer document, that it's all focused around the Australian market and being direct to the consumer. So more than 95% of our total revenue comes from direct to consumer model. Around 2% currently comes from export markets. So it shows you that we have a massive opportunity to grow in the export markets. And then the balance comes from corporate gifting, contract distilling. And we do it like this we've been focused on doing the direct in the Australian market because of the excise tax regime. So for those people who don't know, in Australia, we're the third most expensive country in the world with excise tax. We'll be number one in a couple of years, no problem at all, because our excise tax is legislated at federal level to go up twice a year forever. So it goes up on the 1st of February each year and the 1st of August. So the excise tax is so high on a bottle that we want to keep margin in it, and to be successful in the Australian market and to grow and to be able to reinvest in the business, you can't give away margin to wholesalers. You have to sell direct. For example, at the moment, our excise tax per litre of alcohol is more than $94 a litre. So, and that's going to get worse. We'll hit $100 a litre Australian excise tax by the end of next year. So there's no margin. You have to be direct to the consumer in the Australian market. And in export markets, you can't do that, obviously, because you can't be everywhere, and you can't build, hundreds of distilleries or hundreds of bars around the world to keep growing. So you have to have partners. And that's why we're really focused on that export market, because we need to have the right partners in the right markets. And by doing that also limits our risk, because when we're in multiple economies around the world, if one or two of those economies are slacking or you're going downwards, then we haven't got all our eggs in one basket. We've still got economies that are growing and achieving things and spending, and consumers spending money, and that's why the focus is like that. Why our revenue streams are what they are.
And a big difference between some of you, like the distribution in Australia, the model for that is often, you work with the two larger buyers. You have often the lowest is about 15 days, 30 or 90-day kind of terms with those suppliers. For all of our export stuff, the stock is paid for before it leaves Australian shores. So it's a very different business model for growth. And that's how we've been able to sustain on our own cash flow, not need cash flow finance, not need invoicing finance, things like that, that often businesses do that are growing at our kind of rate and selling in that wholesale direction.
Great. What is your view on market opportunities and challenges for expansion into Europe and the UK?
I think Europe, there's a lot more opportunities than we have now. We're in discussions with a company in Croatia at the moment as well. There's more opportunities in France, Italy. The UK is a really strange market. Before COVID, we spent a bit of time there, myself and Luke, looking at that market. It's a very parochial market when it comes to especially gin. There's definitely opportunity, I think, in the UK for whiskey in the future, Australian whiskey. But I don't see us focusing a lot on the UK, to be honest. There's better markets out there for our brand in the super premium space than the UK. That may change. The dynamics may change in the UK, but I don't see that changing anytime soon in the UK. It's very much it's a what we call first pour market. So, and when we say first pour, it's that it's the cheapest product and working on the highest volume. Our business model in the super premium end of the market worldwide is we do a lower volumes but high margin. So we really tend to stay away from locations where they just want to focus on first pour volume.
Yeah, and each market has its own kind of strategy around it, and that is often dependent on our supporters and our partners in those markets. And I think a lot of markets are getting overlooked. So we're really, we're looking for bang for our buck in terms of finding markets that are being overlooked, that we can kind of, really have a good hold on to start with and really build strong relationships there. And there's plenty of that around.
Great. So what are your views on expansion and market opportunities into Africa and South Africa?
Funny you say that. I had a video conference with a distributor in South Africa just last week. So it's not been on our radar, but the conversation was really interesting. And they've sent us some data of the South African market, sort of where premium sits in the market, who are the retailers there, what are the bars, what's going on. So we're going to have a look at that research and see if there's an opportunity there or not. But we have to be strategic. We even with the maximum investment of the 2 million, we still can't be everywhere and do everything for everyone. Otherwise we're not going to do things well. So we've got to be really strategic on our growth, on our international growth, and choose the markets where we think, as Luke said, we get the biggest bang for our buck now, and then grow into those markets, into new markets as we really get on top of the markets we already have relationships in.
And it's very much our ambition to, we don't have the want or need to continue doing this model of raising every 2 or 3 years. We want to build a strong cash flow business that remains profitable, and we really want to see our organic growth keep extending, and we think we can do that. We're really just trying to get a really solid foundation and prepare for this potential very quick period of growth in the next couple of years, and that's really what this raise is about.
Fantastic. So you've got the capacity to increase your production output to 17,000 litres per month. What does your current production output look like?
For our own products, it'd probably be around 1,500 to 3,000, something like that. Remember, this is, it's between the export orders and it's still our tasting room. So that's kind of where the production sits. On top of that is, contract production, which can vary. It depends on the current market. We've done production months where we're literally distilling 5 days for the full 4 or 5 weeks, and others will produce, 2 or 3 times for contract production. So it varies on that end.
But I think if we had a look at full capacity as we sit today, we're not even a third capacity. We've got so much more capacity. Our stills aren't running every day, 12 hours a day or anything like that. So we haven't even scratched the surface of the production capacity we can do.
Fantastic. Will you guys be publishing a face sheet for investors to have a better understanding of your portfolio?
I think, in all honesty, you can look at our website, you can see everything on there, like all of our limited releases, all of our sellouts, all of our whiskey, everything, anything you need to know about us, you can, about the brand and what we offer is on that website. And if not, let us know. We can, if something's missing there, we can definitely send it to you.
And there's a lot, everything from the years of videos on YouTube to all the information and documentation on the website. There'll be a lot in the offer document. And if you're super keen, you just scroll through thousands of cubes on social media and you'd find a bunch of stuff that way as well. But we're always keen to answer questions.
Perfect. Do you intend to offer any type of investor rewards in this round of funding?
Yeah,
Yep.
It's all in the offer document.
Terrific. So will there be a cap on the number of people, or it just cuts off once the 10% of equity is reached?
It cuts off once equity is reached.
So no cap on the amount of people. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. So there are some spirits brands globally that have produced an affordable range of spirits alongside their premium ranges to take on the cost of living effect on consumers to afford their luxuries. Is that something that Granddad Jack's would look at, given the large percentage of D2C activity for the distillery?
I don't think, let's be real clear here. We are a super premium brand. We're not a mainstream brand. We're not the Toyota of the distilling industry. We never have been. We didn't start out. Our business model is not that. We really understand this business, and I can tell you that once you start to go into the price, because the excise tax in Australia, and because our labor costs are high here, and production costs are high compared to other countries. And being that Artisan producers, we do small volume. We're not 400,000, 5 million litres a year, right? So if you go down the path in this sort of business of having a price pointed that's, matching the big imported products, then one, you're going to make no money. You've got a lot of potential to lose a lot of money. So it's not for us. It's not a good business decision for us to go down a path where we introduce a price point product, because there's no margin in it, and it has a really big potential to devalue our brand, and that's not what we want to do. We really feel, and we believe, and our consumers tell us that we are that Ferrari end of the market. We're not the Toyota end of the market, and we want to stay there like that. We want to stay in that super premium space.
And we're very committed to to staying true to brand and also building experiences. And when we hold a super premium product and we have that little healthier margin, it gives us the ability to create experiences that are worthy of the brand, and to continue to actually build things like customer support and those other areas. What happens generally to brands, and you can do some research of other brands in Australia too, is that as soon as you start getting to that kind of price war, even though we're sympathetic to those brands, but there's plenty of brands out there that are in the price game, and you can go and find something called a gin that's much cheaper than ours, but it's incomparable in terms of the experience of the everyday tasting, using, and even opening our packaging and drinking our products. And it's just a very different it doesn't align with our overall brand aspect.
Yeah, 100%. So with 10% on offer and an expectation of $1 to $2 million raised, this means today's value, brand building and revenue is $10 million to $20 million today. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Beautiful. Somebody has just given a lovely little compliment to say thank you for a very honest and clear set of answers. Very much appreciated.
Thanks for the love.
Thanks.
Do you expect to have any issues surrounding IP or defensibility of your products?
No, we are currently going through the Geneva protocol now to register the trademark internationally. Obviously, in the markets we're in first, but the whole idea is that we will have the trademark internationally. As I said before, the only other brand that's anything near us in the spirits industry is Jack Daniel's, and we have a really good relationship with those. We have an agreement in writing with Jack Daniel's We have a contract that allows us to use the name Granddad Jack's around the world. So we won't have any issues in the way of, you know, trademarking and things like that in the future.
Okay. We've had a question, you know, why equity crowdfunding? Why not get a $2 million bank loan instead?
Well, we could do that. And in fact, we had a meeting earlier in the year with quite a large fund who had a couple of clients that are very, very interested in purchasing Granddad Jack's. And when we seen these opportunities coming up in the international market and the interest in our product, and we decided, hey, we probably should look at raising some equity, some funds to really grab this opportunity and run with it. We looked at 3 different ways of doing it, right? We said, so, okay, we have a reasonable amount of equity in our building. We could loan against that again. That was one option. Second option, we could sell out or sell a percentage of our business to a large organization. That had pros and cons. You know, one thing is, with that option, we wouldn't run out of cash, that we would probably more than double our export market overnight. There's some benefits, but the downside of that is that we would lose the most important thing to us about our brand, and that's we're community and about family. If we partner with that big organization, we will lose that over time. They'll take over. And then we looked at crowdfunding, and it just aligned really well with our philosophy. From day one, our brand is all about community and family. And to us, being able to bring in a whole new group, we love the idea that with crowdfunding, you had hundreds of people that become a part of your brand, hundreds of people that become your partners. And to us, it was a bit of a no-brainer where we thought, well, we don't want to partner with this. We don't want to get into business with this big brand. We don't know what the economy is going to do. And if we over leverage ourselves in a big mortgage or remortgage our building, then that could cause us trouble if we have anything else like a coronavirus again or anything that's possible, right? So we want to limit risk. And so those two we ruled out. But when we looked at crowdfunding, we said, well, we love being a part of the community. We're a community-based brand. We love bringing people into the family. And crowdfunding allows us to potentially have hundreds of people that we bring into the family. And as a brand guy, I think, well, what better thing? There's no better thing than having 300, 400, 500 new brand ambassadors that are all invested in our business around the country that love our product. There's nothing better than that, right? Because you'd have to sort of hope that at least 50% of those people are going to buy something off us every month. So straight away, our revenue stream increases, our sales increase. But more importantly, we get to have this family and build this real culture around our brand nationally. And we hope to do that internationally. I mean, as we grow internationally, look, it'll be great. We're going to create all these, we build these Granddad Jack's bar experiences. We're going to get locals in those bars, and we're going to create community, not just in Australia, but around the world. So that was the main reason. We just feel that crowdfunding allows us to create a much bigger community than we could any other way.
Yeah, fantastic. So your number one fan has tapped in and has a question for you. Are there any future plans to extend the liqueur range? Any plans to expand the core range, maybe a rum?
I'm sure there's a lot of people asking about Musk probably, or sitting at home being like, bring back the Musk liqueur. We're always determined by not only our supporters, but things happening in the market. Our coffee liqueur that's currently on the range, that started as a limited release. So, often when we get a lot of push for products, when we see its potential, and also we have to make sure that we can keep products really consistent. So often our limited releases, especially ones that are extremely seasonal or based on products that we can't get all the time, they're unlikely to become core range products because of those issues. But potentially there's always room in the core range to add something new and something exciting, especially when we open other venues, like we have with our Albion Gin in Brisbane, and overseas, there's obviously new markets to use new ingredients and create something local there as well.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely see in the future, as we go to the international market, there will be products that we sell in other countries that we don't necessarily sell in Australia, which is also cool, right? Because if you want to go and visit a Granddad Jack's or have a Granddad Jack's in Europe, you get that experience of having a spirit that you can't have or you don't see in the Australian market.
Yeah, fantastic. In one sentence, why should people invest in Granddad Jack's?
Because we're just bloody honest family people. That if you've seen our logo, we're too busy for bullshit. and we're too tipsy to care. You know, we live in a world of hope and a world of, crap. People just, talking about whatever they don't know about. We're just as we are. Like what we say, we absolutely believe, and we're not here to bullshit people, and we're not here to pretend we're something we're not. We're not. We're just us. We're just this family business on the Gold Coast that's done what we've done with our own money. We didn't have a dream and then go and expect everyone else to finance it. We backed ourselves, and we've built, we're one of only 2 families in the whole country that have more than 1 distillery. So, if I was an investor, I'm looking at someone who's passionate about their business and has put their own cash on the line, and that's definitely what we've done as a family. We've done it ourselves, we've backed it ourselves, and we're just looking for a little bit of help now to take on the world much faster than we could just on our own.
Yeah, fantastic. So I've got a question, and they're aware that it's a long-term investment. And how long do you see this investment period going for? And how does the return on investment get valued down the line? Is this going to be externally valued or internally valued like it would be for this round of investment?
I think, you really don't know, but I think if we get to another stage, then it'll end up being externally valued, right? The market will value it. That's the reality. And in all terms, how we've put the value on this now is not just the family sitting around a table going, "Oh, this is what we think it's worth," right? Because that's not reality. We've gone to the market. We know what the big brands we're talking about. We've talked to multiple people about where we should sit as a valuation. So even now, we haven't just plucked a number. We've done it. We've done it in a way we believe is true to what the business is worth. But moving forward, definitely, I think the market will determine where the value is, right? If we, the more we grow internationally, the more value there is. But as Luke said, we want to be profitable. We're not about just expanding and needing more cash all the time. You got to expand, and that's got to generate margin. It's got to generate revenue so that you can build cash back in the business.
Yeah, ultimately, like we'd love to see down the line an opportunity to either acquire back some of our equity, and even provide dividends in the future if all comes to what we're hoping.
Sure. So I've had a question. Will PE ratio also be announced next week? I assume that means private equity ratio. Please clarify if I'm incorrect with that, Tony, who's asked the question. But will this be announced next week, assuming this will be in your cap table in your offer document?
I don't think we have a PE ratio in our offer document.
What are they actually meaning?
It's like
price earnings ratio.
So
right. Yeah.
It's part of our evaluation.
Yeah, it's a part of the evaluation. You can see it all in the offer document.
Terrific. So I think that's all of our questions today, in case anybody has anything extra, but you've always got the opportunity to reach out to the team at Granddad Jack's via their Birchal profile. And I know that the team are very responsive and would love to chat to anybody who's interested in investing. And if you've got any questions whatsoever, so please do feel free to get in touch. And if you've got any questions surrounding crowdsource funding, investment as a whole, you're welcome to reach out to Birchal as well via our website. But thank you everybody so much for coming, and thank you guys for answering so many questions. Really, really appreciate it, and really looking forward to your offer opening next week.
No worries. Sounds good.
See you guys. Have a great day.